Two girls lost control in the classroom. One screamed loudly while a boy collapsed on the floor. Just minutes earlier, a girl's hair tie had fallen, and the boy had eaten the tag off it before giving the hair tie back to her. That's when strange things began to happen. Today, I'm introducing you to a sci-fi fantasy movie called The Unhealer. The boy, Kelly, had a condition called Pica, compelling him to eat non-food items like paper and erasers, which often led to bullying from his classmates. Only two girls in his class stood up for him, but to no avail. Kelly found himself upside down in a trash bin. Afterward, a video of the incident spread on social media, and everyone laughed at him. Due to his abnormal diet, Kelly was weak and frail. His mother, Bernice, called a doctor to check on him. The doctor said that this condition usually resolves itself in adulthood. One day, Bernice met an old man who claimed to be a healer. He demonstrated his power by simply touching an old woman, who immediately regained her health. This service cost only $10 a session. Bernice begged the healer to see her sick son, and he agreed. His friend Red warned him that this power came from a grave and would surely cause harm, but the healer dismissed the concerns. When he arrived at Kelly's side and laid his hands on him, nothing happened. The healer went to the bathroom, took some pills, and then placed his hand on Kelly's chest. Suddenly, he wet himself and collapsed dead on the floor. Kelly woke up feeling surprisingly healthy, and his mother was relieved. The police said the healer had a sudden heart attack. No one else paid much attention to. The next day, while fixing his bike, Kelly cut his finger, but the wound healed at a visible rate. Excited, he rushed to school and encountered Reed, a bully. Kelly was not at all nervous and even verbally provoked Reed. Reed threw a punch that seemed to recoil onto himself, while Kelly remained unharmed. When Reed attacked Kelly with a stick, the damage again reflected back on Reed, who ran away, calling Kelly a monster. Back home, Coach Gus and his son Reed came to complain, claiming Kelly had hit Reed, evidenced by Reed's injuries and Kelly's lack of any. Bernice asked Kelly what happened, and he explained that he somehow gained the ability to reflect any harm done to him. Bernice was incredulous. Kelly asked her to test it herself. Kelly then burned his hand with a lighter, yet remained unharmed. Bernice was stunned and, once she recovered, she asked Kelly to never misuse this power and to keep it a secret, which he agreed to. Empowered, Kelly became confident. During class, when Dominique's hair tie fell, he picked it up, ate the label, and returned it to her. Kelly began fantasizing about passionate moments with Dominique and then with Sarah, exciting both girls, which led to a climax for them. Frightened, Kelly fled the classroom. During a school bonfire, Kelly saw some boys harassing Dominique. He intervened, demanding they apologize to her, and Coach Gus stepped in to prevent a fight. Kelly left the party on his bike and decided to head home. The bullies chased him in their car and knocked him over. Thanks to his powers, the injuries reflected onto the driver, killing him instantly. The police and parents arrived, along with Dominique and Sarah, who asked Kelly how he was unharmed. Kelly revealed his powers to Dominique. The police investigation cleared Kelly of any wrongdoing, attributing the driver's death to reckless driving. The bullies were furious at their friend's death because of Kelly and plotted revenge. Kelly and Dominique's relationship quickly heated up, and she invited him to her house. While dumping trash at his job, Kelly encountered Red, the healer's friend, who knew about Kelly's powers. Kelly didn't engage much and left. Later, bullies hooked a chain to the corner of Kelly's house and pulled it with a vehicle, causing the house to flip over. They didn't know that Kelly's mom, Bernice, was inside the house when it was flipped on its side, causing the doors and windows to become inoperable and leading to a gas pipe rupture. Bernice was trapped. Amidst the panic, she knocked over a lamp, sparking an explosion. Upon hearing the news, Kelly rushed back home. He charged into the fiery blaze to save his mother, but it was too late. Kelly was devastated. He was taken to the hospital for treatment, where doctors were puzzled by his complete lack of injuries. Meanwhile, Red approached the sheriff, claiming Kelly possessed a mysterious power, but the sheriff found it hard to believe. At his mother's funeral, Kelly was visibly distressed. He ran to the healer's graveyard, seeking to understand why he had this supernatural ability yet couldn't save his mother's life. Dominique found Kelly and comforted him. Kelly picked up a leaf from the ground and put it in his mouth, which caused him to vomit violently. Sarah witnessed this. The sheriff was investigating the cause of the explosion that killed Bernice. He discovered evidence of the house being dragged in a cane nearby, and he informed Kelly. The bullies continued to provoke Kelly, who was sure they were responsible for his mother's death. Kelly jumped out of the moving car, and when the sheriff stopped, he found Kelly had disappeared. At the lake, the bullies were swimming. Kelly followed, took a piece of clothing, and ate it to utilize his reflective powers. He then strangled himself with the clothing, causing one bully to gasp for air and drown in the water. Kelly approached the lakeside, ready to pick up more clothes, but the sheriff arrived, forcing him to hastily leave. At night, Kelly found Dominique and revealed his plans for revenge. Dominique urged him to let the bullies confess their crimes and face legal punishment. The next day at school, Kelly stormed into the chemistry classroom, pulled off Tony's cap, and verbally provoked him, calling the murderers too cowardly to admit it. Tony responded by throwing sulfuric acid on Kelly's face, which immediately burned him, but Kelly's face healed quickly. Sarah, Tony's girlfriend, kicked Kelly, and the pain reflected back onto her. The sheriff arrived, and Kelly fled. That evening, Sarah and the last bully, Nelson, discussed how to handle Kelly. Sarah mentioned seeing Kelly eat some leaf in the graveyard, which made him vomit violently. She thought this leaf might be able to counteract Kelly's powers. The two went to the graveyard, collected some strange leaves, and prepared to create a liquid to use against Kelly. The next day, Kelly returned to school and found Nelson's backpack. He pulled out Nelson's clothes and found an electric drill. As the sheriff and Nelson's father, Gus, were talking, Kelly suddenly appeared, chewing on pieces of Nelson's clothing. Nelson, however, seemed prepared and pulled out a weapon against Kelly, a spray made from strange leaves. The sheriff warned both parties not to act rashly, but Kelly suddenly grabbed the drill and drove it into his own leg. The reflected pain incapacitated Nelson, who collapsed to the ground. Gus, in an attempt to save his son, charged at Kelly. Nelson sprayed Kelly with the green liquid, which effectively weakened him, causing Kelly to fall to the ground. Gus then snatched the sheriff's gun and aimed it at Kelly's head. A gunshot rang out, and both Gus and Nelson fell. Gus suffered from reflected damage, and Nelson died because Kelly had consumed his clothing. Dominique, who had witnessed everything, couldn't accept the reality of so many deaths. The sheriff suggested asking Red for help to remove the mysterious power from Kelly. At night, Kelly was taken to the graveyard, where Red conducted a mysterious ritual that caused severe adverse reactions in Kelly. Dominique, trying to leave with Kelly, was shot by an officer and both fell into a grave. As Dominique lay dying, Kelly, in agony, could only speak 2 sentences before she stopped breathing. Enraged at seeing the healer's corpse nearby, Kelly questioned why he was given such powers. He dug out the decomposing heart and consumed it, then collapsed. An ambulance took away the bodies of Dominique and Kelly, but Dominique suddenly came back to life, realizing that the superpowers had transferred to her.